Welcome back to Newsmax Prime. In boxing, it's the tale of the tape. In politics, it's the crucial crosstabs, the demographic breakdown in political polls, offering insight into who has the advantage and why. John Bachman reports on some recent findings adding to Hillary Clinton's headaches tonight.
JD, not a great day for the Clinton campaign. Hillary Clinton taking a beating from several Republicans after the State Department's scathing report on her emails, this adding more fuel to the fire. Donald Trump now leading her by 2 points in a new ABC Washington News poll, and young voters may be a big reason why.
It's been an amazing few weeks.
Yet again, a new poll this week shows Donald Trump on top of Hillary Clinton, an 11-point shift from just March. His recent surge bolstered by growing support from younger voters. It's a stunning shift. Since March, Clinton has lost 19 points. Trump has gained 17 among voters 30 and younger. These voters are now likely learning about the Clinton White House controversies for the first time.
I was very nervous. No woman should be subjected to it. It was an assault.
Trump has been digging them up in several new social media attack ads. He's also been hitting the Clintons frequently from the stump.
Hillary Clinton's husband abused women, and she treated these women horribly.
Millennial voters also have an aversion to anything tied to the establishment. That's why some of Bernie Sanders' young supporters may be turning to Trump as the primary winds down.
And I'm hearing we're going to get close to 40% of his supporters.
And Sanders supporters, young and old, remain at odds with the Democratic National Committee Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Wasserman Schultz is now under new pressure to resign and may have to if the Clinton campaign wants to win back over the support of Bernie Sanders fans.
Well, another notable stat from that ABC News Washington Post poll relating to Republicans who vowed never to support Donald Trump and Democrats who have vowed never to support Hillary Clinton. Trump is picking up almost twice as many Bernie Sanders supporters than Hillary Clinton is when it comes to those Republicans who vowed never to back Trump and then backed another GOP candidate. JD, back to you.
Thanks very much, John. We appreciate that look at numbers. And speaking of numbers, the phone number for you to call to get in on the conversation, 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Now, for more on all of this, we're pleased to be joined tonight by the editor of Red Alert Politics, Ron Meyer. And from Newsmax Washington, we also have joining us tonight the director of campus outreach for the Leadership Institute, Cabot Phillips. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time tonight here on Newsmax Prime. Cabot, Donald Trump is pulling in millennial voters according to the latest polls. Michael Reagan was on this program last night discussing what Trump needs to do next. Let's listen to what Michael had to say last night.
You've got a whole group of millennials who weren't even born or were just born when Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. So you're going to have to find a way for the inroads into there.
So, Cabot, is this real? Will millennials flock to Trump and stick to him?
I think the biggest thing here, and the reason that Donald Trump is gaining so much support as of late, is because of trust. And the fact is, Hillary Clinton has trust issues when it comes to young people. The most important issue for people my age when they go to vote is trust. And how can we trust a candidate who has openly lied to the families of terror victims and try to further her own political agenda? Someone who has lied and said that she wants to tear down the 1%, but makes more in an hour-long speech than the average American makes in 4 years. They don't trust her. They see right through it. And Donald Trump, call him a lot of things, but one thing that you can say about him is that he seems to tell it like it is. And I think young people more and more are going to gravitate to someone that they feel like isn't playing them. And I think Donald Trump is really highlighting the fact that Hillary Clinton has a lot of scandals that took place before people my age were even paying attention. And they're just now being brought back into the limelight. And I think that's why these polls are showing what they are.
So we're getting a refresher in history for the millennials. But Ron Meyer, I want to go back to math, if you will, or the poll numbers that John Bachman offered. We'll take a little closer look. That ABC News Washington Post poll, Trump's lead in terms of millennials, you see the momentum. Hillary Clinton's support among young voters 18 to 29 has dropped 19% since March. Trump has gained 17%. All told, that's a 36% swing. Ron Meyer, what do you think is the biggest driver in this shift demographically?
The last 2 months, two things have really changed. One is Donald Trump has started to unite Republicans. That's one thing. I think that's helped give him some millennial Republicans. That's not a huge group, but it's something. And then the other bigger factor, and I think who Donald Trump has to thank the most, is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has exposed the Democrat Party to be anti-Democrat and anti-democratic principles. He talks about superdelegates. He talks about Hillary's problem with Wall Street. And the more he takes down Hillary Clinton, the more people are fleeing not only Hillary Clinton, but the Democrat Party. And that's what we're seeing in this poll. This poll, I think, could be a temporary bump. I think millennials may turn back to the Democrat Party unless Donald Trump takes this opportunity to keep these people on board. I think the way he does that is by talking about the three biggest issues. There's just a big poll that came out recently that showed that more millennials are living at home with their parents than living with spouses or significant others. That's the first time that's happened in 130 years. And so how can we get millennials out of their parents' basements? I think Trump has to answer that question. What can we do to fix underemployment?
Yeah, I got the answer too. You know what the answer is too. It's a job. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Very much, Ron. Hey, let's go to the phones at 1-877-Newsmax, talking about a younger guy in politics, not quite a millennial, a guy used to serve within Congress, now the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Verl is on the phone from the Lone Star State of Texas. Verl, I understand you have something to say about Speaker Ryan.
Yeah, I think we ought to just forget about him, and anytime they try to put something with him on the news, just ignore it and let him go down the drain, because the politicians still don't know what the deal is on Trump. And the whole thing with Trump is he's so popular is because he is not a politician.
This is the year of the anti-politician. Now, let me go back to you, Ron Meyer. The whole situation involving Speaker Ryan. An on-again, off-again report today. Does Paul Ryan, does he incur some political problems the longer he stays away from endorsing Mr. Trump, in your opinion?
Being a Speaker of the House has to be one of the toughest jobs, maybe besides being RNC chairman, because you have all these factions and you have all these different interests. You have people, members of Congress, who are running for re-election where Trump isn't doing well, and so he's trying to give them some cover. And I think he's also sort of making up his own mind. We have to remember, Donald Trump has said a lot of things over his life that aren't very conservative. Now, I think he's changing, and I think he's changing very rapidly, as he would say. And that's a good thing for conservatives. He's starting to give us some assurances, whether it's through his team or through its, who his vice presidential pick will be. I think he's continuing to build a case to conservatives that we can trust him. The Supreme Court nominees helped as well. And so I think that's kind of where Speaker Ryan is, where a lot of conservatives still are, is, okay, well, now we're listening to you, Donald Trump, and we're willing to jump on board. But we still, some people aren't there yet. I think, Trump's done a pretty good job the last couple of weeks. And
well, yeah, he's consolidated some support, but the Speaker not there yet. Cabot, very quickly, do you only have a couple of minutes left? I want to get another call in. But Cabot, from your perspective, the Speaker was reaching out to millennials, all the young staffers. He gave this speech where we thought, quite frankly, he might end up in the race. Are millennials disenchanted with the Speaker at this point?
I think they're disenchanted with just politics as usual. And what they want is real answers. And like Ron was saying, they want someone who's going to come in and give real answers. I don't know right now where the Speaker is and whether or not it would be advantageous for him to endorse. He is the leader of the Republican Party, so I think...
Yeah, well, my free advice as one of his colleagues from the old days, you better endorse the nominee. Hey, a final phone call out in Fredonia, Kentucky. Dale has been waiting patiently. Dale, you got 45 seconds. Make them count.
Well, I'm going to thank you for taking the call, J.D.
You bet.
And it's about your previous statement on the illegal immigration. I've seen it firsthand right here in western Kentucky. And if the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and American Farm Bureau could be abolished, we've got a congressman here at Tratarin after this year, and I've confronted him in person on 2 different occasions about his vote on trade issues, and he said he was advised by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And I said to him, who elected you, the Chamber of Commerce or the people of 1st Congressional District? And he wouldn't answer me.
Well, Dale, this is pointing out the realignment we are seeing, a realignment that Ron Meyer and Cabot Phillips have talked about demographically, the year of the anti-politician, and traditional power brokers and interest groups in Washington, such as the Chamber of Commerce, used to be bread and butter for those of us serving in the House. Now you hear from Dale and other members of the electorate, people are a bit skeptical. Ron, Cabot, thanks for your time. We'll have you both back here real soon. There is more to come. We want to get your comments. Of course, we have our phone lines open. There's newsmaxtv.com/comments. Also, Twitter at Newsmax Prime. Back to talk about some of the refugees and more about our borders next.